got to pick up every stick. You got to pick up every stick. Oh, must be the season of the witch. You got to pick up every stick. I want my lawn as clean as frick. You got to pick up every stick. Must be the season of the witch. Witches. We're going to talk about witches today. Because it must be the season of the witch. Gretel und Hansel. Gretel und Hansel. Did you notice that they reversed the name because they wanted to give that feminine principle the priority? Sit your butt down, men. Man, sit down. You are not a woman. Give the woman first place on the battlefield. Give the woman spec ops training. Give the woman the meat off of the bone, and you eat the bone, dog boy. Because this is the time of women's empowerment and the time of witch, the witch. The time of witch is the time of the witch. And Gretel and Hansel is a esoteric, Jodorowsky-esque season of the witch. But it's time to talk about witchcraft. Witches aren't just women's. Witches are also the men's. Men's can also be witches, and they're not just called warlocks. So, if you saw this movie, you might have been bumfuzzled and debazzled because this movie was a bit bizarre. It was Jodorowsky-esque. We have at the beginning, I'm going to tell you the story of Gretel and Hansel. I'm going to explain it to you what it means. The key to understanding this movie is the idea of cyclical nature, the dance of nature, and the dialectical process. That's what this movie is about. Now you say, well, how does that relate to Wiccanism and witchcraft? I'm going to explain it. So we have a mom at the beginning who basically wants her daughter to become an HO. She's mad that Gretel won't pimp it out to get some damn macaroni and cheese on the table, right? But we find out that Gretel has principles. Gretel is principled and is not going to sell her body for a bunch of mac and cheese. Therefore, Mama says, get out, get your lazy butt out of here. You won't be hoed out, like I say. You won't be tricked out. And so she has to flee from the insanity of her mother. The patriarchy is gone. Did you notice that the dad is not even in the picture? Where is the dad? Is he at the hoe house? Is he at the crazy zombie Satanist monastery? Yes, there is a zombie Satanist monk monastery full of satanic zombie monks. So our children wandering about then find their way to the Holy Order of Cake Leg Evil Zombie Monk Satanists. Montel Jordan's Holy Order of Cake Leg Zombie Satanist Monks. That's an old inside joke, but that's what it made me think of. And so they find a place to shelter. They think they can sleep since they've been run out of their own home. And you wake up to a big, bald, zombie Satanist monk howling at you, growling at you. What would you do? Well, you run and you wait for the brother man to come save you, and he does. And he sends them on their way. Be gone, little children. Go about your business. Is the black dude sending them to the witch, or is he honestly sending them about their way? I'm not sure. It's debatable. But this is where it starts getting good. This is when I'm starting to get hooked. When after the pooping in the wilderness scene, they stumble upon the shrooms. Yes, the magic shrooms. Did you notice what she did? She talked to the shrooms. Is this Terence McKenna's illegitimate child? Is Terence McKenna the father who's immediately missing? The absentee Terence McKenna father?
And she's talking to the mushroom. Did you know that I talked to the mushroom, and the mushroom told me that white women need to stop having babies in Orange County, California?
That's what Terence McKenna says. But so she talks to the mushroom, and guess what? It's an initiatory event. She's initiated into witchcraft. It would seem that the witch has intended for these events to happen because, if you recall, the daughter was banished, right? The original story, before we get into Hansel and Gretel, the original story is the daughter being banished from her village by the angry villagers who, yes, I mean, this witch is evil. She killed her dad through her witch powers. And so the mom and the daughter, we presumably have fled. So Hansel and Gretel, after their initiatory rite, we start to see an increase in Gretel's powers. So it's been hinted at that she already has and possesses these occult powers. Now it's it's going to the next level, particularly because of the ritual. And she starts to have visions, and she sees that the witch and her posse, her witch posse, are trying to subtly coax and seduce her into the black arts to become one of them. Now, as they find their way to the witch's cabin, they notice the sweet-smelling aroma of freshly baked cakes, dainties, and goodies. And this is, of course, irresistible to empty child bellies. So they end up seduced by the witch. They're there for a while, feeding on the sumptuous dainties, and things start to not look right. The witch sends Hansel out into the woods to sharpen his axe and to perfect his axe skills. And at the same time, what is who we think is the witch? What's she doing? Well, she is a witch. What's she doing to Gretel? She's training her in the arts. She's initiating her, training her in the arts. She teaches her the secrets of fluids, gross fluids, and ectoplasm, apparently, I guess is what this is, to make the broom do the broom thing. And the brother, we realize, is not that smart. Not only does he not have the sixth sense witch intuition of Gretel, he seems to be 3 cookies short of a ginger snap basket. He's on the lower rung of the IQ spectrum. And so we realize that he's easily controlled by his passions. Now, other than the black dude that sent them upon their merry way, this is the only male character that we've seen other than the cake leg zombie monk. Cake leg because he hobbles and he falls over and his legs seem to be made of cake. Inside joke. Anyway, so as she's taught the ways of maturity, the initiatory rites of her being brought into witchcraft relate also to her puberty, right? This is puberty time. And then after puberty, this right when she gets her women time, right? The moon time. It's moon time for the witches. This is connected to the same time at which she learns about these sticky fluids that relate to her broom. It gets darker, right? It's not just about this stuff, right? This is part of the natural process, but keep in mind, this is the cycle of nature, right? The cycle of the woman's moon time is part of the cycle of nature. Then we start to realize something is going on here because we're in a time of famine. How are we having these sumptuous dainties in a time of famine? And it's literally every dainty imaginable. This way for your num-nums. Where are these num-nums coming from?
This way for your num-nums.
Well, we find out that the mama here in this situation is herself not the actual witch. She is a witch, but she's not the witch. She is the mama of the super mega power witch, the Grand Dame witch, who is the daughter who has been banished to the forest, who apparently haunts this forest, I guess we could say. And I guess she's dead or is now a spirit. She seems to haunt the mom. And she haunts the mom into eating the other children. So once again, illuminate, confirm, cannibalism is what this is about. And the witch who is training Gretel tells her, now it's time for you to reach to your stage of initiation. You're going to have to eat, probably, yes. But ultimately, she says, you have to consume your weakness. So there is the integration of the shade part of you, the acceptance of your weakness, and the consuming of it, which is your conscience. Time to get rid of that conscience. Then you will be a full-fledged witch. Cremation of care. The cremation of your conscience. So the next stage in the initiatory process that she's been going through, and it absolutely is an initiatory process. You notice that. Did you notice when she opened the book, you saw the inverted pentagram. You saw the Baphomet image in the middle of the book. When she wanders into the woods, you see the inverted pentagram. This is all the witches doing, right? And, well, the witch and the mama witch, you see. They're all behind this. And so that's why in the vision, she says, come with me, sister, you're one of us. So there you go. So if you've seen it, then you're aware, all of the pyramids everywhere. The pyramids, there is on the witch, she actually has the Solomonic six-sided seal. She's got a pyramid tattoo as well as pentacle tattoos. Well, we find out that she can walk through the black goo, and that she shows up in the basement where the bodies are, and she turns the guts into the sumptuous dainties and feasts. So actually she's tricking people that she seduces into her cabin into eating people. But it appears to be a sumptuous, luscious feast. And in fact, it is the guts of the baker, the barber, and the candlestick maker. And it's the guts of all the village kids. Yes, if you don't forget that she had seduced, the original witch had seduced the other village kids to their doom. So it's a play on Hansel and Gretel that's interesting. Imagine Jodorowsky directing Hansel and Gretel, or Gretel und Hansel, the feminized version, right? And I was actually surprised because I thought, spoiler alert, I thought that they were going to have Gretel become a witch and eat her brother. But what does she do? She does rescue the brother, sends him about his merry way as a dolt of a male that he is. And she continues the honorable lineage of a white witch, apparently. She becomes a white witch. But as she tries to flee the entrapped spirits of the children that the witch had consumed, she decides, or she realizes her fingers turn black like the mama witch, right? Showing that she's forever marked with darkness. And so there's not really a good or bad. There's just two sides of a coin. There's death and there's life. There's white and there's black. And white magic and black magic are just flip sides of the same magic. And that's why she's in this witchcraft sense in this film. She is one with nature. She's one with the mother goddess. This comes up in their conversation between Gretel and the witch. And so she's been taught the rites. And so the Trinity, the triad here, which this is my interpretation of the three weird visitors that we see in the forest. We see these three images, these three creepy characters popping up. I think it's the triple goddess, the triqueta of witchcraft, which is the three phases of the moon, right? Youth, middle age, and elderly. And we see that in the film. We see the young girl, Gretel. We see the middle-aged witch, and then goth chick. And then we see the old hag. The old hag is keeping herself young by eating the youth. And so we are left with the unclear conclusion as to when her fingers turn black. Is she just tainted with evil, or is she going to continue this tradition of chomping on the chunky kids? I don't know. That's where I think it's a little unclear. Maybe it's up for you to interpret. But the film is absolutely Illuminate confirmed. And the film is about witchcraft. The film is about the triple goddess, the Tricreta. And that's my take on Hansel, Gretel und Hansel. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff below. Tell me what you think. What did I miss? I'm sure I missed things. You guys are really good at this. You always show me the areas that I missed. But I think I've got this one. I'm pretty good at doing this. Done it for a long time. I think I've got it. What do you think?